verses in Srila Prabhupada Nectar book. And one day you'll be singing that song too after we greet the deities. So get it down. One day, sooner than you think. Yes. And there are so many other songs that maybe we'll start doing some of them in the morning so you can learn. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Praja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Praja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Praja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, today we will be reading from Srila Prabhupada Nectar book. Continuing where we left off. This is also like Srimad Bhagavatam because it's the person Bhagavat, when Srila Prabhupada's life, who was a personal example of the teachings of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So there's the book Bhagavat, Srimad Bhagavatam that we read most days, and then there's a person Bhagavat, one who has dedicated their life to the to following and living by the instructions and conclusions of the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's all part of the acharya. What is it? What is an acharya? What is an acharya? 3 points.
He follows the principles. He himself is the living example of the philosophy. He follows the principles and
First acharya is someone who has heard or received the knowledge from the disciplic succession. Second, he is teaching, speaking those same instructions, speaking or writing. He's giving that same instruction that he's received. Doesn't change it. That's 2. And 3, he's showing by his personal example how to live according to those instructions. That's 3 qualifications of acharya. So that Srila Prabhupada obviously is a very big acharya. But we're also supposed to become acharyas. We're supposed to be receiving the knowledge through the disciplic succession as we are. We study Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, like that. We're receiving that knowledge through the disciplic succession. We're supposed to be preaching, either here in class, but just speaking to people, telling people in general about Krishna consciousness according to the same principles, and we should be living it. So if we're preaching very nicely, but we're not showing the example, then our preaching will be useless. Even if somebody doesn't really know that we're not following, if they're hearing us speak nicely, and they don't know that we're not following, if we're not following, but the potency will not be there. And the example Srila Prabhupada gave, he said, just like, Srila Prabhupada would tell stories. So just like the story is that one lady, mother, she went to some particular person and asked, "Can my son? He's smoking cigarettes, and it's a bad habit, but I can't convince him to stop. Can you convince him to stop?" And he said, "Yes, but I will speak to him next week." So mother agreed. Okay, and he spoke, and he convinced the boy to stop the bad habit. But then she said, but thank you very much, but why do you have to wait until the following week to do this? Because I also had that bad habit, and I had to give it up before I could convince somebody else to change. Understand? So, because otherwise there's no potency. If you don't believe in it yourself enough that you follow it, then how are you going to convince anyone else, right? So same thing with us. We tell people to chant Hare Krishna, follow regular principles, engage so much in devotional service. We preach like this, but if it's just a show and we're talking, but we're not, we have our secret life behind, that nobody sees, then our preaching will not have any benefit because we won't be able to convince them because we're actually not convinced ourselves. Like that. So we need to be acharyas. Srila Prabhupada's big acharya because he's a pure devotee, a perfect devotee. But we need to follow Srila Prabhupada's example. Srila Prabhupada actually said once Srila Prabhupada was asked, says, and of course this is a time that there was only Srila Prabhupada and anyone in ISKCON was his disciple because there were no other gurus. So Srila Prabhupada, they said, they understood Srila Prabhupada's position, a pure devotee of Krishna. He says, are any of your disciples pure devotees? he says. And he says, yes, says, all my disciples are pure devotees. It seemed kind of, I heard this when we were many, many years ago, so thinking, how's that possible? But then later on I understood, because disciple means discipline. Disciple means discipline, and discipline we have. So disciple is following the discipline or the guidance of the spiritual master. So if we're not following the instructions like chanting our rounds, following the principles, dedicating our life in Krishna service, if we're not doing those things, then we're actually not acting properly on the level of disciple. So Srila Prabhupada says, all my disciples are pure devotees. So that means that if we committed, I'm going to chant my rounds every day, I'm going to follow the regular principles, I'm going to give everything I can to give Krishna consciousness to other people like that, then if we're doing that, then Srila Prabhupada said that means being a pure devotee. But Srila Prabhupada also makes the point that you can be a pure devotee and maybe not be 100% liberated, because I'm not like Srila Prabhupada. There's a big difference there. But we've dedicated our life to this movement, to these principles, and then Srila Prabhupada explains that too. Srila Prabhupada explains everything. He says, just like the mango. Now we have mangoes starting to grow on these trees, green mangoes. First the mango grows and it's green, dark green, very hard. But in time, that mango will become ripe, yellow and red and very sweet. So it's very nice. Mangoes are a very nice fruit, especially the ones that grow here. They're very nice. Still a mango. There's green mango and ripe mango, but it's just a question of time. And you going through the biological thing that happens in nature. It goes from green to a nice, sweet, ripe mango. So the same way, we are practicing Krishna consciousness. We're chanting Hare Krishna. We're following the program, and we start off we're green. We're following the process, or it's like a mango. But in time, by doing that, we naturally will become the nice, ripe, sweet mango. We're trying to become sweet mangoes here. Sweet mangoes. So we become the sweet mango, which means we gradually become to the point of 100% liberated, pure devotional service. That will come. But if we're following the process, even if we're not 100%, pure in our consciousness and everything, but we're following the process for the right goal, then we are considered, according to Srila Prabhupada's standard, pure devotee of Krishna. That basically means second-class devotee. Second-class devotee means pure devotee, pure devotee, pure green mango devotee, like that. And in time, by following that, then we become pure devotee, red and yellow mango, 100% pure devotee, pure liberated devotee, like that. Anyway, the process works. The process definitely works, and if we just have to have that little faith and follow it. Okay, on the Srila Prabhupada's Nectar. So we are reading. Anyone who's reading from the book, it'll be page 378, it's number 24, in the Prabhupada Nectar book. Little drops of nectar. Prabhupada doesn't waste anything. Srila Prabhupada was once walking with some disciples when he stopped and pointed to a willow tree. Take twigs, he said. After Aravinda Das removed 3 or 4 twigs from the tree, Prabhupada raised his hand and said not to take more than necessary. The devotees realized he did not want to cause unnecessary harm to the tree. In Los Angeles, next paragraph, in Los Angeles in 1972, Prabhupada went on 2 morning walks wearing an oversized dhoti that the devotees had offered to him. The dhoti was twice as long as it should be and almost twice as wide. Prabhupada had wrapped this dhoti around himself and rolled it up so that it formed a very large bundle around his stomach. When the devotees saw him in it, everyone, including Prabhupada, laughed. When Atreya Rishi asked Prabhupada if he could get a pair of scissors and cut the dhoti to the proper size, Prabhupada became upset. Cut, he said. Everything you want to cut. Then he explained that although the Western boys were very wonderful, they had no concept about wasting Krishna's energy. He then began to complain of how the New York temple had been repainted 2, 3, 4 times. Prabhupada looked at Atreya Rishi with a pained expression on his face, and Atreya Rishi felt Prabhupada was imploring him to help stop the waste. The New York temple at that time was a big skyscraper building. So, I don't know how many floors it was. It was a very large building. So if they actually painted it many times, it must have been a very big endeavor, thousands of dollars each time. Naveen Krishnadas was a grihastha with many family responsibilities. He once asked Prabhupada how it would be possible for him to think of Krishna 24 hours a day since he had so many family duties. Prabhupada looked at Naveen Krishnadas and asked if he had 24 hours in a day. Naveen Krishna said yes. Prabhupada then said, now out of those 24 hours, he worked 8 hours or 10 hours, 8 or 10 hours, spent 6 or 7 hours sleeping, and used 2 hours for eating. That left 5 or 6 hours free. Naveen Krishnadas agreed that this was a true picture of his schedule. Prabhupada then asked him if he was using all of that extra time to serve Krishna. Naveen Krishnadas couldn't reply. Prabhupada then said that if he used all of his time in Krishna's service, that Krishna would show him how to serve him more. On hearing this, Naveen Krishnadas became very enlivened. Enlivened. Had an experience of my own from back then. I used to, when we were our temple was in Miami Beach. I was brahmachari then, so I just had no obligations except for serving the deities. So I was cooking like 12 hours a day, every day, 7 days a week, and I had 2 hours for chanting, and I was thinking, how do I? But I really liked reading Srila Prabhupada's books. I think, how can I read? How am I going to find time to read? Because after Mongol Artik until evening, and then I chant my rounds, and I go to sleep. But I really wanted to read Srila Prabhupada's books. So but then I started thinking, and I could manage to schedule this way and that way. And next thing I knew, I added in like 3 hours of reading a day, because I'd read for 45 minutes in the morning while the devotees took prasadam. We were reading Chaitanya Charitamrita in the morning. I was reading about 45 minutes at night while the devotees were reading Krishna book during the evening prasadam. It was an hour and a half. And I was finding, between the offerings I was cooking, I was finding time reading here and reading there. So I got like 3 hours of reading in, along with 12 hours of cooking and other things. So the time was there. So if we have the desire, Krishna will show us where that. If we have the desire, he'll show us that. And if we have desire to have an excuse why I can't do anything, then he'll make us think that we have not, there's no time. There's 24 hours in a day is not enough. Okay. Number 25. Srila Prabhupada tells a story. Before coming to America, Prabhupada was a family man. One day, his servant began to cry out in what seemed to be great discomfort. "Oh, I am dying, I am dying." Prabhupada immediately called an ambulance and went with the man to the hospital. In the hospital, several doctors examined the servant and concluded that he required an immediate operation. Prabhupada asked why, and the doctors gave a technical answer. Then a senior physician came and said they would wait until morning to operate. Prabhupada returned home. His wife then told him that a neighbor's wife had come and told her that the servant was only drunk. "No," Prabhupada replied. "The doctor said this is a serious case. He needs an operation." The next morning, the servant came home. When Prabhupada asked him why he had returned, the man replied that he was all right and did not need an operation. After telling this story to his disciples, Prabhupada explained how demoniac doctors simply want to operate. He recounted how whenever one goes to a doctor in America, they immediately require you to give blood. Then they give you an injection. He said that sometimes in India, doctors inject only water and then charge a fee. The doctor was asked, "Which do you want, a bottle of medicine or an injection?" The patient will ask for whichever is better, and the doctor will then give the patient an injection of water, charged 5 rupees. In this way, Prabhupada illustrated how human civilization in a society of cheating, illustrated how human civilization is in a society of cheaters and cheated. That doesn't mean that there's no honest doctors. There are many honest doctors, but it happens like that sometimes. The whole system is kind of corrupt. Anyway, I shouldn't say too much here. But let's just go on to this. Number 26. Prabhupada said, "All services accepted. Please continue your very good service and do not feel any feelings of uselessness. It is true that Krishna has given some opportunity to serve him by nice writing, some by good business ability, some by nice cooking, and so on. But these various services are all accepted equally by Krishna. On the transcendental plane, one service is as good as another. There's no question of higher or lower. We are very tiny, and so we cannot really do very much. Simply we can engage our time and energy, and that is all Krishna sees. He sees this boy or girl is spending his time in my service, and he is pleased. I hope you are both well. Letter to Hansaduna Das and Himavati Devi Dasi." That was his wife. Hansaduna Das and his wife. March 3rd, 1968. So there's no next paragraph. So there's no question that one activity is more important than another, or that deity worship is more important than Sankirtan. But one individual may be able to perform one activity more satisfactorily than another. So to him, that activity will be more important. But in general, we cannot say that any any of the 9 processes is more important than the others, except that if hearing, chanting, and remembering are there. That is the most vital consideration for the general class of men in the age. Service to the deities, as you are asking me, begins whenever you remember them and offer all your services by remembering them. And at the same time, all activities, words, everything should be offered as service to the deities. And thus this offering with remembering will gradually increase as you practice it. So that's an important point. So there are many kinds of services: sankirtan and deity worship, temple administration, maintenance, temple maintenance, and many things. But Krishna doesn't make any real distinction. So someone might think, well, I'm just a little pujari in the back, and no one ever even sees me. And here's somebody else out on, going out and selling, 500 books of Sankirtan every day. Yay! Jai! Everyone, big accomplishment. But maybe that Sankirtan devotee can't even do deity service. It takes a certain mentality, and so what Krishna sees is that whatever endeavor Krishna sees that okay, I'll just give an example. I wrote a letter one time. I wrote a letter to Srila Prabhupada, and he replied. And it's related to this, so I'll bring it up at this point. I was still in Gainesville. This is where I started before I was sent to Miami Temple. And in Gainesville, everyone was out selling Srila Prabhupada's books. I mean, that's just that's just what we did. We didn't have any real deity worship per se. We had a picture of Lord Chaitanya, a painting of Lord Chaitanya and his associates, but there was no deities like here. So and the preaching was, if you want to please Srila Prabhupada, the preaching was not exactly perfectly correct then, but if you want to please Srila Prabhupada, Shri Gauratai, Shri Radha, Braja Vihari, Jagannath, Balaram, Lady Subhadri, Vijayashikade, Prahlad Maharaj, Ki Jai. That if you want to please, the preaching was that Srila Prabhupada is very, very pleased that we should go out and sell books. And it was true. And the more books you sell, then the more pleased Srila Prabhupada was. And if you could, but then if you're not selling books, then Srila Prabhupada was not happy with you. So of course everyone was you got to get out there and sell those books. And the more books you sell, the more happy he is. And if you're not selling good books, good at selling books, then Srila Prabhupada will not be happy with you. And the preaching was in that way, so it wasn't quite correct. So I was also selling books, Back to Godhead mostly at that time, because we didn't have a lot of big books. We had a lot of Back to Godhead magazines. I was trying. I wasn't very good at it. I liked reading them, but I wasn't very good at selling them. And we were told that every week all of our results were being sent in to Srila Prabhupada. In our temple, this devotee did this devotee did this many books, like that. So I'm thinking Srila Prabhupada was getting these reports every week, and he's seeing that every day I'm last on the list. So how am I going to please Srila Prabhupada anyone could be in last place? You don't have to do anything. So I was thinking like that, and I was feeling upset even, that because how am I going to please Srila Prabhupada? So I wrote this to Srila Prabhupada. I was getting upset, and I was feeling that why am I getting upset? Am I upset? Am I envious of the devotees? There's some anxiety there. Uh, so I explained the situation and considered my particular concern to Srila Prabhupada in a letter, and he said, and he wrote back that he made a few statements in his letter. One statement was that Krishna is not so much concerned with what we give, but with how much we keep back for ourselves. The main thing is we serve Krishna the best we can, because because one person may be able to do one service better than someone else. You know, it's like sometimes I know some devotees they join before they joined the movement they were out on the streets selling encyclopedias and different things like that to people. That's how they worked. They were very comfortable going to people and selling books. They just changed over and did it in Krishna service. So, and there are others who were never approached anyone to sell anything. I mean, so Srila Prabhupada said Krishna's not so concerned with what we give, but he sees what we can give, when we have the ability to give, that we're not giving. Okay, that was his point. So, in other words, whatever ability you have, whatever service you can do, he sees, are you giving it everything you can give, or you could do this much, and you're doing this much, you know. Krishna sees that, and that's what he's seeing. That's what Krishna is seeing. How much we could do, and how much of our what we have ability to do, are we actually doing for Krishna. So he said like that, and he gave the example. There's a devotee previously. There's a devotee who's an associate of Lord Chaitanya. His name was Kolavecha Sridhar. Kolavecha Sridhar? It's mentioned in the Nectar devotion. So Kolavecha Sridhar was very, very poor. He maintained himself. He had, I guess, a little bit of land, and he had banana trees on it. So he would in India you could buy large stacks of leaf plates and leaf cups like that. So his business was doing that, and he got a little income. Even today, these things are not very expensive, right? But so he was doing that then, and making plates and cups and so on out of leaves, and he would sell them. He'd get probably a pretty small income. But the Srila Prabhupada said, so even though he had so little money that when his house, his little hut, got a leak in it, he couldn't even fix the leak. The rain would come in. He'd just sit there with an umbrella under that. He was not. But 50% of that income that he had from selling those leaf plates and leaf cups, 50% of that he would use for worshiping Mother Ganges, the Ganges River, which is a holy river. So in that way he gave a large percentage of his very little income for that purpose. So that's what Srila Prabhupada was saying. We don't have to have big ability. We don't have to have big anything. But whatever we have, use that as much as possible in Krishna service. And for me, that was very important, because I always felt I can't do much of anything. But I make a big endeavor, and it's a fact. If we give the best, do the best we can do, give the best we can give, and Krishna knows that we are giving the best, then that's how we will advance in spiritual life. That's how we advance. Anyway, there's some more in the letter. It'll come back to me. But that was the point, and that letter's been quoted here and there by different devotees in different books. So it wasn't just the letter wasn't just for me, but it was written to me. Okay, continuing on. Don't think that if one is engaged in the deity worship and if one is engaged in the gardening work, there is a distinction. No, the one who is working as a gardener, he is as good as the one who is dressing the deity. Now, because it is on the absolute plane, there is no difference between them. Just like in the material world, if one is working as a manager and another is working as a menial servant, there is a difference of pay or a difference of service. No, in the spiritual world, there is no such thing. In the spiritual world, even a small ant is serving Krishna. If by chance there is an ant and a flower is thrown onto the lotus, if by chance there is an ant and a flower is thrown onto the lotus feet of Krishna, and if the ant kisses the lotus feet of Krishna, he is as good as the pujari. This is the spiritual world. Yeah, so
It's a beautiful analogy.
Yeah, and seen that one before. But yeah, so it doesn't matter what our service is. So we give the best that we can give. Here we've tried. I was given a primary service of the pujari. So I said, okay, well, let me take that seriously and do that. And it's been, how long. To doing it, and at the same time, we get opportunity for speaking Srimad Bhagavatam and so on like that. So, but the specific service is Krishna sees not what we are doing, but how much we are keeping back or not keeping back for ourselves. You can see how much we're actually dedicating our life in that service to the Lord's service. Okay. Number 27, service in separation. Srila Prabhupada was a wonderful person, and everyone who met him immediately fell in love with him. The entire city of Bombay is completely infused and permeated by Srila Prabhupada's personal presence. Wherever we go, we meet people who say they had met Srila Prabhupada. They heard him lecture, or they met him on a walk, or perhaps they met him at a friend's house. Invariably, they are very impressed with Srila Prabhupada and feel that they have some relationship with him. Actually, our entire preaching in Bombay is simply encouraging the relationships so many people had with Srila Prabhupada. Wherever we go, people welcome us and say, "You are disciples of Swami Bhaktivedanta?" It seems that his significance is being recognized more and more since his disappearance. While we develop our own individual identities as devotees of Krishna and preachers, still people tend to see us as Swami Bhaktivedanta's disciples. Unlike other famous gurus who are known in name only, with Prabhupada, they also know his philosophy. They know that he was preaching bhakti, surrender to Krishna. They know that he was condemning everything else besides surrender to Krishna. They know that he was preaching the Regulative Principles, and many of them are understanding his preaching about Bhagavad Gita as it is. That was written by Giri Raj Swami. Next one. The spiritual master is not limited by any material barriers. Srila Prabhupada would sometimes laugh and say, I have captured them. I have not bribed them. He is giving us love so deep that it is completely boundless. This is what he was writing this thing. He is giving us love so deep that it is completely boundless. Love that can even manifest through tape recorders, records, wherever there is a tiny bit of reciprocation. He is instantly present, and giving himself fully to that person. That is the power of the pure devotee. By Krishna's grace, he can be completely present in his voice. You can feel perfectly situated hearing his voice and doing devotional service. It is not impersonal either. No one is as aware of my activities as Prabhupada. No one is giving such instructions as Prabhupada is on his tapes. He is explaining what devotional service is and what the result of performing devotional service is, and he is directly speaking to me. It's written by Satyanarayan Das. Yeah, if you even many devotees have experienced that they go to a place that Srila Prabhupada was giving a lecture, and there's many people there, and Srila Prabhupada is speaking, but at the end of the lecture, different devotees are saying, Srila Prabhupada said something very personal that affect to me personally, and he was looking just at me, and he was saying, and he said something that really I needed to hear, you know. But others are thinking Srila Prabhupada was looking at me the whole time, and he was giving me so many good instructions, but he's speaking to hundreds of people at the same time. So he had that ability to touch everyone. And of course, devotees that would get a chance to ask questions. Srila Prabhupada in 1972, Srila Prabhupada was visiting our New Vrindavan community in West Virginia, and I was there at that time. It's one of the times I got to go. And so he was sitting up under a big tent on top of the hill, speaking. There must have been hundreds of devotees there. Devotees would drive from all over the place when Srila Prabhupada was there. So he was there. He was listening. He was giving a lecture, and at the end, one devotee, one visitor, somebody in the crowd, asked Srila Prabhupada. He said, "If our purpose is to go back to Krishna, why is Maya so strong?" Is that a good question? Huh? Somebody struggling with Maya. Srila Prabhupada's answer is very short and simple. Because your purpose is not strong. Maya is not strong. Not compared to Krishna. So our purpose has to be Krishna. If our purpose is Maya, then Maya, of course, is very strong. If our purpose is to Krishna, then and if we have a strong purpose in Krishna, then Maya is not going to deviate us from that. So your purpose. So he said that you're seeing that Maya is so strong because your determination to serve Krishna is not very strong, like that. Which was actually very instructive, because that means if we really dedicate our lives in Krishna's service, then we don't have to be deviated from devotional service by Maya. If our desire, we have an intense desire to become Krishna conscious, then Krishna will protect us, and we don't have to be, pulled away from that by Maya. But if we have we're not very strong desire to please Krishna, then when Maya shows her attractive face, then we start saying, oh, maybe I went Maya instead of Krishna. So for us practicing Krishna consciousness, Maya's out there everywhere, and if we invite her in, then she'll take over. But as long as our determination to be Krishna conscious is strong, then if Maya comes in, she can't do anything if our determination to become Krishna conscious is strong. I'll read one more paragraph here. Then. I never could go right up to this is devoted Vishvareta Das. I never could go right up to Prabhupada and say something, but now I feel that I can do it. Prabhupada is always in the temple room, and nobody is going to say that Prabhupada is taking rest or that I can't go up to his room because he is writing, etc. He is more accessible now. The whole idea is that Prabhupada made a house in which the whole world can live with him. While Prabhupada was on the planet, it seemed he wasn't accessible because you had to come to see him at a particular time and a particular place. You had to cut through the whole material world to get through that door to sit down with Prabhupada. But now it isn't like that. For example, in Vrindavan, you can go at any time of the day in his house and sit and chant. Prabhupada is sitting on the Vyasa side in Vrindavan, Krishna Balaram temple. It seems being Prabhupada conscious is much easier now. Whatever happens to you, you can always remember the sort of things that happened to him. You can always talk about Prabhupada, and you can always see something that Prabhupada did and relate to it. For example, when you go to buy groceries, you can immediately remember how Prabhupada would keep receipts and only spend a couple of dollars a day for vegetables. Whatever you do, it seems like he is a lot more accessible. So that was devotee's realizations. Any questions, comments? Right in the microphone.
So what are the 9 processes you just mentioned earlier? 9 processes of devotional service, right?
There are 9 kinds of devotional service, and there are 9 stages of devotional service also. So you were the processes?
Yes. Well, yeah, you just briefly mentioned.
Shravanam, Kirtanam, yeah. Hearing, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Sakyam, Dashanam, Sakyam, Patmani, Vedanam. So Shravanam means hearing. Means we're hearing the philosophy, or we're hearing the chanting if we're chanting. Hare Krishna, we're hearing. Shravanam. Kirtanam means we're speaking, or also means preaching. So we're chanting. Actually, we chant japa. We're hearing the chanting, and we're speaking the chanting. Okay. So Shravanam, Kirtan, or we're hearing the philosophy, and then we preach to the people about the philosophy. That's Kirtanam also. Also, writing is considered writing about Krishna. Is also Kirtanam. So Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. Smaranam means remembering. Basically, it means remembering. We're remembering the Lord from because you're hearing about Him, you're chanting about Him. So by doing that, you're also remembering Him. So, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. Smaranam means remembering. Basically, it means remembering. We're remembering the Lord from because you're hearing about Him, you're chanting about Him. So by doing that, you're also remembering Him. So, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. Smaranam means remembering. Basically, it means remembering the Lord from because you're hearing about Him, you're chanting about Him. So by doing that, you're also remembering Him. you know, Shravakirta Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Padasevanam, serving the lotus feet of the Lord. It almost seems like it's deity worship, but there's archanam too that refers specifically to deity worship. So, but those are the archanam. There's Padasevanam, archanam, Vandanam. Vandanam means offering prayers, just like we sing this song, Guru Puja song, Shri Guru Charana Padma, or the Sansara Dava Namavita Loka. These are prayers to the spiritual master, and also the obeisances, Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya, like that. So we are or prayers and glorification of Krishna directly. There's so many songs about Lord Chaitanya, so many songs about Krishna. So this is Vandanam. We can also offer our own prayers. Praying, glorifying the Lord, asking for guidance, asking for protection, like that. So that's Vandanam. Sakyam, that's a pretty advanced one, but actually becoming a friend of the Lord. That's down the road somewhere. Sakyam, Sakyam. And Atmani Vedanam means that you actually are giving everything to the Lord. An example of, there are different devotees who got their perfection. They was different ones of these. So hearing, Maharaj Parikshit, his perfection was he heard Srimad Bhagavatam from Sukadeva Goswami. That was because he said to me that's his perfection, that he perfected his life by hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam of Sukadeva Goswami in those last 7 days that he was alive. Sukadeva Goswami would be Kirtanam, because he spoke the Srimad Bhagavatam. Swami Kirtan, Smaranam. I think Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad, you know Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad. Lord Nrsingadev, and then there's a little Prahlad. I mean, deities. So Prahlad Maharaj is a great devotee of Lord Nrsingadev. So when his Prahlad's demon father was trying to kill him, which is anyway, there's another old history in several chapters in the Srimad Bhagavatam. He was never afraid. Prahlad was maybe 5 years old, but his father was a big demon. He was one of those demons that we mentioned the other day, that Jai and Vijay. One of them took birth as Hiranyakashipu. So Hiranyakashipu was the king. He was controlling the entire universe at that time. Even the demigods were under his control. But his son, he was a demon, but his son, Prahlad, was a pure devotee of Krishna. So you can imagine, so Prahlad went to school, and he was, they had a recess there, teachers go off and did whatever the teachers did, and the children had a chance to play. So when they would play, when they had their recess, then Prahlad immediately starts preaching. Little kid, but he immediately starts preaching to his classmates about being Krishna conscious. But the school was like a demon school. It basically means a materialistic school, which is pretty much how things are in general in the world these days. They trained them to be a materialistic person. So that's what the teachers were teaching. That's what Hiranyakashipu told them to teach these people, including his son. But Prahlad was not. He had no interest in these things. So he knew better too, because while he was in his mother's womb, he was hearing uh, from Narada Muni. He was hearing uh, so much Krishna conscious preaching, and he, he, he was a pure devotee. He came out as a pure devotee already. So, so he was naturally inclined to devotional service. So every time he got a chance, when the teachers are out of the room, he starts preaching about devotional service to his friends. It's like today, if somebody's very devotee child goes to school, and when the teacher's outside, they start, okay, everyone, chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, like that. And it would probably, in modern times when prayer is not supposed to be done in school, since many years ago, uh, that would not go over too good. So he was doing like that with his friend. Anyway, I can't go into all the details, but this time because we're getting kind of late. But Prahlad was his father asked him, what is the best thing that you learned in school today? About materialistic this and materialistic that. He said, the best thing he said, well, we should all surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yeah, his father's an atheist. He hated God. So he's saying we should all surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We should chant His holy names. We should bow down before Him, like that. And Hiranyakashipu was like, he was so angry. Where is he learning? How is he learning it? He went to chastise the teachers. He said, we didn't teach him that. Okay, I'll give you another chance. You make sure he does not. Or who's getting in there and teaching these things, to him. But anyway, eventually it came to the point that Hiranyakashipu said, I can't tolerate this anymore. I'm going to kill this boy. He tried many ways to kill him. We're talking about remembering. So he tried to kill him by making him, throwing him in a pit of poisonous snakes. He tried to kill him by having him thrown off of a cliff. He tried to kill him by putting him in boiling hot oil. He tried to kill him by having a big elephant stomp on him, crush him, and he tried to kill him by having these Rakshasa type people come and poke him with sharp objects, and other things too. So many ways he tried to kill Prahlad. And Prahlad, they couldn't do anything to him, and he was simply remembering Krishna. So he's known for remembering Krishna, like that. Just always remembering Krishna, no matter what. And Shravana Kirtan, how to save him, Archana. I don't recall who was Ambarish Maharaj. No, Ambarish Maharaj was famous for doing all 9 processes at once. At once, yeah. Hearing, chanting, remembering, which is kind of what we do. We hear, we chant, we remember, we serve the deities, if not on the altar directly, but we're chanting kirtan, or we're helping to do festivals for the Lord. So we're doing Shravana, Kirtan, Vishnu Smarana, Archanam, Vandanam, offering prayers, Guru Puja prayers, Brahma Sangita prayers, Chintamani Prakara Sadhana Sukalpa Vriksha, like that. We're doing all this. So we basically are doing all of them, all the processes. And we may be inclined to do one more than others, but Srila Prabhupada gave us all those processes. So those are the processes. Like that. Any other questions?
Maybe next time we can mention 9 devotional services, which is, I guess, Deity service, right? A deity worship the deity.
Yeah, deity service, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Archanam. The process called Archanam, that means deity worship. Archanam. That's the technical name.
So you said there are devotional service and processes.
Um, well, okay, processes of devotional service. They're all forms of devotional service. Hearing about Krishna is devotional service. Speaking about Krishna is devotional service. Remembering Krishna is devotional service. Like that. So, whatever name you use, it's all, they're all forms of devotional service. And they're processes too, because by doing them, then we are becoming purified in Krishna consciousness. Let me see there. Okay, I don't see any other comments here or questions here. So I think we have to end now. Tomorrow we'll have class, Srimad Bhagavatam class. Tomorrow also is Ekadasi. Tomorrow's the Ekadasi day. Huh? Ekadasi, yes. So we'll end here for now. Thank you, everyone who came in.